Hey there guys, DMO73 here, bringing you the first deck profile for the week. This is for my Tale of the Sun of Fairy Tales with Millium. It's mono white, at least in stone base, and then you get some kind of splashes because of Millium's abilities. So let's just dig right in. So Millium, the Prince of the Light Palace, he's a human with a judgment cost of 3. He's got Energize for white, and you can pay the attribute cost of any fairy tale with Light Will. So he's kind of like his dad, Grimm, but not quite as diverse. You have to use Light Will for him. So then he flips over and he becomes Milium, voice of a new generation, hence the new story. So he's a 9/9 human. When he enters play, you get a stone into play recovered. You can still pay light attribute for the attribute cost of any fairy tale, and whenever he attacks or whenever he blocks, you force for 1 die and put that many +1/+1 counters on him. So he can get really, really big, really, really fast, just become a massive beast. But the main reason we use him is just because of the fact that we can pay for that attribute cost of all the fairy tales. So pretty cool there. So moving into the stone base, I know that people will knock me on this, but I run 20 basic light stones. So you can run 10 if you want, but I mean, if all your stones are going to be basic whites anyway, you might as well just grab 20, because if Millium's going to die, then eventually you can just use all 20 of them, and you'll be way ahead of your opponent resource-wise base, and I think it just makes more sense if your ratios don't matter to just play all 20 basics. So we play there, and then moving into the Resonator count, we run 4 Tinkerbell, just because it's a pretty solid strength creature as a 1-drop in the 1-drop slot. Mainly use it to trigger Wendy's off, but it also has flying, which is really nice. It's able to get that damage over your opponent, so that's really nice. And it gets +2/+2 for every other fairy tale. So you jam this later on in the game, or if it doesn't get answered right away, and it can become very, very big. We play 3 of the Monkey Trapped in Life. So this is your kind of like early game blocker, as Gala again is that 1-drop slot. That's really nice to help with Wendy, make her kind of combo off faster. So when he dies, you have to pay 100 life, and then he comes back to your hand. So he's kind of that chump blocker that will never just go away, and especially if you use him with Pandora's Mark of Hope, you're actually gaining a lot of life with the combination there. So it becomes really good. And then, of course, we have kind of the main staple of the deck's aggression is Wendy. So she's a 1-drop fairy tale that when another fairy tale enters play, she recovers, which is really amazing. And she gets +2/+2 as long as you control a basic stone and no special magic stones. So she's essentially in this deck a permanent 1-drop 4/5, which is very, very strong. And then when you control Peter Pan, she can't be attacked, and she has flying, so she can become that kind of really aggressive, also protected combo piece that can push in for that OTK. And we play a 1 of Confectioner Hansel, just because I wanted to use him and to grab those magic sweets. He's also a life gain mechanic, but 2-drop 5/5 with a good effect is always a good spot to have. You can search him out, so if you really need to, you can grab it. But I just kind of splashed him in there, not a real huge need for him, but he's nice. The other really important card of the deck, in my opinion, is Red Riding Hood. This card is so amazing. So it's a 2-drop 3/4 that when she dies, you get a stone into play rested, which is already fine because she's a ramp spell, so she's that shell block ramp spell like I talked about in the feature match. But as the game goes on, she gets stronger. So when you hit 5 stones, she gets +4/+3, so she becomes a 7/7. And when you have 7 stones, she gets swiftness, target attack, and first strike. So she essentially becomes a 2-drop of the same kind of caliber as like Priscia Pursuant of the Exploding Flame, which is really good when she's only a 2-drop. So really a lot of pressure there that you can apply later on to just kind of swing in and finish the games off, plus helps you ramp up way early and get to things like Hook before your opponent knows what to do with them. Then we run 4 Peter Pan. This is primarily to grab your other Wendy's and to protect them and give them the flying. So when he comes into play, you grab another fairy tale with cost 1 and put it into your field. That's really awesome. And then he's a 5/6 and he's got flying himself, so he can also put in that work to get that damage in. So really, really good stuff. And then lastly, our final big boss creature is 3 of Captain Hook. Just because you kind of need something on the high end sometimes for some of these games, or if there's a flyer in your way for Wendy, to just bounce them back to hand, or if your opponent's getting really greedy and you want to lock them out of a color for a bit, you can just use Captain Hook to bounce creatures back to the board, to get special stones back to the deck, everything else. Plus he's a 1,000/1,000, so really, really strong. Moving into the spell lineup, we run 3 Dreams of Flight. This is another way to kind of help turn on Wendy if you can't quite get to a Peter Pan in time. It's just a 1-cost quick cast with Remnant, and you force 1. So you roll a die, that creature gets that much of a bonus for that turn. So if you roll a 6, it's +6/+6 for the turn, and they have flying. The fact that you can Remnant with this is really, really nice, and the fact that it's quick cast just makes the combo that much easier to pull off. 2 of Magic Suites, just for some protection. I always try to run, 1 more copy than however many searchables I have. So like I have 1 Hansel, so I'm going to run 2 Magic Suites. So if in case I draw into one, I still have a search target. But being able to protect your J/Ruler at instant speed while giving it a bonus is really, really nice. One thing you can do is do like a Magic Suites during your upkeep, and then after it resolves, you play Dreams of Flight on a Wendy. So Wendy's already got the +2/+2, but she's also hexproof, so you know this is going to resolve. You know that she's going to be safe and start to be able to just combo off and get really aggressive with it. 3 of Pandora's Mark of Hope, the new white edition. So it costs 1, and then it costs 1 to bestow. So technically it's a 2-drop in that sense. But it gives whatever creature you have +4/+4, and whenever it dies and goes to a graveyard, you force for 1, and then you gain that much life times 200. So this is why it's really good with Monkey Trapped in Life, because you'll just put it on a monkey, you'll chump block something, you'll have to pay 100 for monkey, but then you roll like a 4. So really you've gained 700 life off of that monkey chump block, which is amazing. So I really like it. Plus, if you can play it turn 2 on a Wendy, they're staring down a turn 2 8/9, and that's just a really big body for them to have to deal with. 2 of Manifestation of Power. This is to deal with other additions as well as for some draw power, because you can, if you need to push through for lethal, you can use this too because it's a quick cast, and you can recover target Resonator you control and then draw a card. So like if you need to get 1 more swing in the air with flying, you can just recover, and you don't have a fairy tale, you can just recover it and then swing it again, which is really, really nice. Or like a Captain Hook or something like that. And then we run 3 of the Summoning from the Fairy Tale world. This is the kind of new search spell for Millium. So because you have Millium, you get to go into the deck and grab 2 fairy tales, any fairy tales, and put them in your hand. So this is a free 2 for 1, which is just raw advantage and grabs you exactly which fairy tale you need at the time. So there's no real reason not to run at least 3, maybe even 4 based on your personal preferences. Then we run a 1 of Retelling Stories. This is just in case the game goes long. You can recycle all of those used cards a lot. It's really good to do this with like a Little Red Riding Hood. So you take any number of fairy tales in your grave and stack them on top of the deck, and then you draw a card. So one of the things that people like to do is they will put like a Peter Pan or a Little Red Riding Hood on top, or a Red Riding Hood on top, or if they have a Peter Pan in their hand, they'll shuffle everything back, they'll put everything back in, draw into the Red Riding Hood, and then play the Peter Pan, and then go into the deck, grab the Wendy, and reshuffle. So now your deck is not in a weird stacked order with just Resonators for the next 20 turns, but it's actually shuffled back together. So that's a really interesting way to play this card. And then lastly, just to buff up Milium, because why not? We run 3 Laeveteinn, because if you can, have the ability to flip him, use the 1 extra stone to pay for Dreams of Flight and have swiftness, then like you can just push through for a lot of damage really, really fast, which is pretty safe damage. So that's a good way to finish the game. So that is it for the deck. Let me know what you guys think in the comment sections down below. Go ahead and come back tomorrow for Ralph's Sprinting Machine profile. And like, comment, and subscribe as always. And until next time, guys, this is the Mo73 signing off.